Welcome to the Leading with AI podcast. This is the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're taking a really serious look at something pretty fundamental, actually, to just about every business.
Yeah.
The future of finance. And, specifically, the role of the chief financial officer in this age of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's a huge topic. It's not just about tweaking job descriptions, is it? It's really reshaping the whole strategic landscape.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're really drawing from the book Intelligent Advantage by Ryan Beckett. We're focusing particularly on Chapter 6, which, it dedicates a lot of thought to this transformation within the finance function itself.
It really does. And there's this core idea in the book, sort of a hook, that just perfectly captures it, I think.
Which one's that?
The idea that AI doesn't just close the books, it rewrites the rules.
Yes. That really resonated, didn't it? It's powerful. So we're going to unpack what that actually means for you. Whether you're sitting in the CFO chair, part of a finance team, or really any leader who relies on financial intelligence.
Right. Because the key takeaway is that AI isn't just some efficiency tool for the finance department. I mean, it is good for efficiency, but it's much more, it's really a catalyst for a profound evolution of the CFO role itself.
Meaning it demands totally new perspectives, different capabilities.
Exactly. And a kind of strategic leadership that, frankly, moves way beyond the traditional box of responsibilities.
Okay, so let's get into it. Before we zero in on the CFO specifically, the book makes this really crucial point about AI in general, that it's basically a strategic imperative for any company that wants to, thrive today.
Absolutely. Chapter 1 really sets that stage well. It emphasizes that AI is way more than just automating the boring stuff, although it does that brilliantly, or finding those little marginal efficiency gains.
Right. It's not just incremental.
No, not at all. The real power, the book argues, lies in using AI to fundamentally reimagine how your business operates, how you innovate, how you engage with customers, ultimately how you compete and win. It's about creating whole new value streams, potentially even new business models.
So it's a foundational shift. And the stakes, they couldn't be higher, could they? The book really highlights that the companies getting this, the ones embedding AI deep into their strategy and operations, weaving it into the really fabric of the organization.
Yeah.
They're the ones positioned not just to survive, but actually to leapfrog the competition.
That's exactly it. And conversely, those organizations treating AI like, just another IT project on the list, something we'll sort of get around to eventually, they're running a serious risk of becoming obsolete.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the book points out that the early adopters, they're not just getting some temporary edge, they're already racking up real tangible benefits, better customer insights, faster R&D, more resilient supply chains, and they're creating this widening gap that's just going to get harder and harder for others to close.
That's a good compounding effect.
Totally. Think about companies using AI for that hyper-personalized customer stuff, or optimizing incredibly complex global logistics in real time. These aren't minor tweaks. They're genuine step changes in capability.
And that leads us to another critical point, this one from Chapter 2. This kind of massive transformation, it doesn't just happen by itself, does it?
No way. It needs deliberate, really intentional leadership right from the top. The C-suite, collectively, they simply cannot delegate navigating this AI revolution down the chain to, say, a department head or just the tech team.
It's too strategic for that.
Way too strategic. It's a core challenge for the entire executive team. And that sets the stage perfectly for why the CFO, as such a central figure in that C-suite, has this absolutely vital role to play.
Because they're uniquely positioned.
Yeah, uniquely positioned to understand the financial implications, right? To measure the impact of AI investments, spot the areas where AI can create the most value, and critically manage the associated risks. Taking ownership both within finance and as a champion across the whole company, it's just essential now.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Which brings us right into the core focus for today from Chapter 6, this profound evolution of the CFO role itself. The book argues pretty convincingly, I think, that this AI era requires the CFO to move way beyond those traditional duties, financial reporting, control, to become what it calls an AI-augmented CFO.
And that term's important. It's not just about a CFO who uses AI tools, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's about being a pivotal leader who actively partners across the business, driving strategy, fueling innovation, creating sustainable value, with AI capabilities just deeply integrated into how they think and how their function operates.
So it's far more than just like a digital upgrade for the finance department. It's a fundamental reshaping of the role's purpose, its capabilities, everything.
And Chapter 6 walks us through 7 key shifts, 7 big changes in focus and capability for this evolved CFO. Let's dive into each one. What's the first shift?
Okay, the first one is a really big one, moving from historical reporter to predictive strategist.
Okay, historical reporter. That sounds familiar.
Right. I mean, the traditional CFO role, it's always been fundamentally grounded in historical accuracy, reporting on what happened financially, quarter after quarter, year after year, closing the books, analyzing past performance, making sure compliance is nailed down. All absolutely crucial work, don't get me wrong. It's the foundation of trust and transparency.
But it's backward-looking inherently. You're explaining the past.
Exactly. Now, in this AI-augmented role, the emphasis shifts dramatically. It moves towards forward-looking insights. The core purpose becomes illuminating what could happen under different conditions, and maybe even more critically, using those potential future scenarios to inform what should be done right now, strategically, operationally.
So instead of just handing over the report on last quarter's numbers, the AI-augmented CFO is helping the company actually anticipate things, like market shifts, or predicting customer behavior, or maybe forecasting the impact if a new competitor jumps in.
Precisely. And AI is the engine that makes this shift possible. It lets finance teams leverage really sophisticated forecasting models, dynamic scenario modeling, powerful predictive analytics. We're talking models that go way beyond simple trend lines.
How so?
Well, AI can incorporate these vast, diverse data sets. Sure, internal financial data, that's table stakes, but also external market signals, macroeconomic indicators, regulatory changes bubbling up, social media sentiment. Even that alternative data the book talks about in Chapter 8, like satellite images of retail parking lots or real-time shipping data.
Wow, okay. That's a lot of data.
It's a deluge. And AI can process it all to generate forecasts that are much more accurate, more granular, and way more dynamic across revenue, costs, cash flow, even predicting risk exposure with more foresight.
This sounds like it ties directly into some of those really fascinating executive foresight tools the book gets into later, I think in Chapter 15.
It absolutely does. Those tools are perfect examples of AI enabling this predictive muscle for the CFO. Take AI-driven horizon scanning, for instance.
Okay, what's that?
Instead of relying on, say, quarterly market intelligence reports that are probably outdated the minute they land, AI can continuously monitor this huge landscape of external data. News feeds, industry reports, competitor announcements, patent filings, regulatory updates, academic papers, you name it.
It's constantly scanning.
Constantly. Identifying those early, often faint signals of emerging trends, potential risks, or nascent opportunities. AI uses techniques like natural language processing, NLP, to understand all that text, and anomaly detection to spot unusual patterns that might mean something big is brewing. It lets a company react so much faster.
It's like having this radar system for the business environment running 24/7 with AI making sense of all the blips.
That's a great analogy, and it radically enhances AI-enhanced scenario planning, too. You know, traditionally, scenario planning might involve a few execs in a room, brainstorming possibilities based on their gut feel.
Right, qualitative workshops.
Exactly. And look, human creativity and judgment, still essential. But AI brings incredible rigor and data-driven depth to it. AI can rapidly generate and quantify multiple plausible future scenarios by crunching complex historical and external data, running millions of simulations to model potential impacts of, say, a supply chain shock or a sudden market downturn. It can identify sensitivities like how much does a 1% interest rate hike really impact our bottom line under scenario B.
So it moves scenario planning from being kind of an educated guess to something much more robust and data-informed.
Totally. That sounds incredibly powerful for making big strategic calls, especially when things feel uncertain.
Yeah.
Understanding the potential financial consequences of different strategic bets or major external shocks, that's gold.
And it helps find those subtle clues you might otherwise miss.
Yeah, that's where weak signal mapping comes in. Using AI techniques like clustering or maybe topic modeling on huge amounts of unstructured text data, think social media chatter, news articles, customer reviews, AI can find these fragmented, seemingly unrelated bits of information that, when you put them together, actually hint at significant future changes. Those unknown unknowns the book talks about.
Creating a kind of early warning system.
Exactly. Something that just wasn't feasible before at scale. Imagine spotting early online buzz about a competitor's secret product feature, or detecting subtle shifts in logistics data that flag potential instability in a key supplier region weeks or months before it becomes obvious.
And tying this back to the core planning process mentioned back in Chapter 3, it really transforms that old school, maybe annual environmental scan into something more like continuous strategic sensing.
Right. You get this dynamic stream of insights feeding into your strategic frameworks, maybe your SWOT analysis or TOW-WS matrix. It enables automated, personalized, predictive intelligence briefings tailored for specific leaders based on what they need to know.
So it fundamentally changes the input for strategic planning. Makes it way more dynamic, data-rich, genuinely forward-looking. The CFO becomes a key source of strategic intel, not just financial history.
You got it. That's the essence of the shift.
Okay, huge shift. Let's move to shift number 2. From cost controller to value architect.
Right. Another major evolution here. Now, let's be clear. Managing costs, ensuring financial discipline, that stuff remains absolutely critical, foundational. Doesn't go away.
Of course.
But the AI-augmented CFO pivots. They adopt a more strategic, enterprise-wide focus on creating and optimizing value.
So it's not just about finding places to cut expenses anymore. It's more about understanding where value is truly being generated and figuring out how to maximize that across the whole business.
Exactly. The focus shifts from simply minimizing spending to strategically maximizing the return on every dollar invested, driving sustainable value creation. And AI, especially machine learning, provides these incredibly sophisticated analytical tools that can uncover the true drivers of profitability and shareholder value with amazing granularity.
Granularity like?
Like, where is value being created or destroyed? Not just at the big business unit level, but drilling down to specific products, individual customer segments, specific geographies, maybe even particular internal processes. AI can pinpoint underperforming assets or initiatives that are just sucking up capital without delivering the expected value.
And then using that insight to redirect resources.
Precisely. Guiding the strategic reallocation of capital, funneling investments towards those initiatives, those projects, those business areas that show the highest potential return, making sure investments are tightly aligned with the overall strategic goals. It's really about architecting the value blueprint for the entire enterprise, ensuring resources flow where they'll have the biggest positive impact.
This feels like it connects really strongly to the operational side of the business, where AI is driving efficiency and value. I'm thinking about chapters 3 and 12, which talk about operational efficiency gains through AI.
Oh, absolutely. The book talks about that evolution from, say, lean principles towards what it calls intelligent autonomy. AI drives huge value through things like predictive maintenance in manufacturing, using sensors and AI models to predict equipment failure before it happens. Think about the savings from drastically reduced unplanned downtime and maintenance costs. That flows straight to the bottom line, as Chapter 12 details.
Right. And digital twins, also in Chapter 12, I think.
Yep. They allow companies to create these virtual replicas of physical assets or complex processes. You can test changes, optimize performance, run simulations in the virtual world before you spend the money or risk disruption doing it in the real world. Think optimizing a factory layout or improving a logistics network.
And things like AI for quality control, reducing scrap, or smart robotics optimizing labor.
Exactly. And don't forget AI in the supply chain, which Chapter 3 covers in depth. That impacts both costs and revenue. More accurate demand forecasting using AI means fewer missed sales because you ran out of stock, but also less cash tied up in excess inventory that might become obsolete. That's a direct hit on working capital and profitability.
Better forecasting, better inventory optimization. Makes sense.
And AI enables intelligent process automation, IPA. This goes beyond basic robotic process automation, RPA, which just mimics keystrokes. IPA uses AI to handle more complex, judgment-based tasks within processes, leading to significant efficiency gains, not just in finance back-office stuff, but across the business. It frees up your people for higher-value thinking work.
And the CFO is absolutely central to figuring out if all these AI initiatives are actually, delivering the promised value, right? Measuring the return.
Oh, 100%. Chapter 3 really digs into the critical need for intelligent KPIs and robust frameworks specifically designed for measuring the ROI of AI investments. And honestly, it's tricky. It's not always a simple calculation.
Why is that?
Well, you need to establish clear baselines before you deploy the AI. You need to define measurable business outcomes, not just technical metrics like model accuracy. You need rigorous proof of value pilots. You have to track the comprehensive costs, not just the software license, but data prep, new talent, integration work, ongoing operational costs.
All right, the total cost of ownership.
Exactly. And you need to regularly review and communicate the results. The book emphasizes adopting a portfolio view. Some AI bets will pay off big, others might not, and considering the strategic or option value. Sometimes building an AI capability gives you future options, even if the immediate ROI isn't huge. This whole discipline of defining, measuring, and demonstrating AI's value, that's a core job for the AI-augmented CFO.
And Chapter 11 introduces this concept of algorithmic advantage as a totally new source of value that CFOs need to get their heads around.
Yeah, this is a fascinating and crucial point. The book argues that your proprietary data, the algorithms you build using that data, the continuous learning loops you create from user interactions, plus any network effects, this combination can create a powerful, compounding source of competitive advantage. It's a new kind of asset.
Like recommendation engines getting smarter with more users?
Exactly. Or fraud detection systems that improve with every transaction they analyze. The CFO needs to recognize this algorithmic asset. They might even need to develop new metrics to assess and value it, perhaps for strategic planning or M&A. Think about metrics like, how big and clean is our unique data set? How accurate are our core algorithms? How fast do our models learn and adapt? How effectively do they drive customer personalization, engagement, loyalty? These aren't on the traditional balance sheet, but they're critical indicators of future earning power.
Interesting. Okay, shift number 3. From compliance overseer to risk navigator.
Right. Again, compliance and internal controls remain absolutely foundational. Bedrock stuff. They don't disappear.
Gotta have those.
Yeah, gotta have them. But AI significantly expands the CFO's capability and responsibility to manage a much, much broader spectrum of enterprise risks, and to do it proactively and intelligently.
So it's not just the traditional financial reporting risks or regulatory compliance anymore.
Exactly. Those are still core, obviously. But AI equips the CFO to navigate operational risks, like potential disruptions in the supply chain, strategic risks, maybe stemming from disruptive technologies or sudden market shifts, and increasingly, those emerging ESG risks, environmental, social, governance, which carry growing financial weight and reputational impact.
How does AI help with that broader view?
Through things like AI-driven anomaly detection, which can flag unusual transactions or operational patterns that might indicate fraud, errors, or impending failures. Predictive risk modeling can forecast potential issues like credit defaults among customers, cybersecurity threats targeting financial systems, or even geopolitical risks impacting suppliers. Continuous monitoring capabilities allow key risks to be tracked in near real time, not just periodically reviewed.
So the goal is to identify and mitigate threats before they blow up into major crises, enhancing resilience.
Precisely. Moving from reactive damage control to proactive risk navigation, it significantly enhances the overall resilience of the organization.
And this capability must be deeply intertwined with the whole governance discussion, right? Which comes up in chapters 2 and 15.
Oh, absolutely. It's fundamental. The AI-augmented CFO has to be a champion for establishing and upholding really robust AI governance frameworks across the whole organization.
What does that entail?
Well, it starts with foundational data governance, ensuring data quality, security, privacy, understanding data provenance, where it come from, defining ownership. But then it extends specifically to model governance. That means managing the entire life cycle of AI models, from development and rigorous validation through deployment, ongoing performance monitoring, watching for model drift, where performance degrades over time, managing model-related risks, and often using practices called model ops to streamline this.
And the ethical dimension is huge here too, isn't it?
Massive. These governance frameworks must embed ethical AI principles, defining what fairness means in your context, actively working to mitigate bias in both the data and the algorithms, establishing clear accountability for AI-driven decisions and outcomes, ensuring appropriate transparency where needed, like explaining loan application rejections, and critically, maintaining meaningful human oversight, ensuring humans are still in the loop or on the loop for critical decisions.
So integrating AI risk management into the overall company ERM framework.
Yes, absolutely vital. And given how fast things are changing, staying on top of the evolving regulatory and legal landscape, the book mentions the EU AI Act as a key example, is crucial for compliance and just anticipating what's coming next.
And making sure you have clear roles, responsibilities, oversight structures. Maybe things like cross-functional AI ethics boards, perhaps a dedicated chief AI ethics officer in some companies, and ensuring the board itself has the right level of oversight for AI strategy and risk.
All of those components are basically non-negotiable for responsible AI adoption. And the CFO's role in driving and enforcing them is significant, partly because they own areas like data integrity, internal controls, and financial reporting, all deeply impacted by AI.
Chapter 11 also flags some entirely new categories of AI-specific risks that CFOs need to be aware of now.
Yeah, these are things that weren't really on the radar before widespread AI use. Risks like data poisoning, where bad actors subtly corrupt the training data to make the AI models produce flawed or biased results, or model evasion or model inversion attackers trying to trick deployed models into making mistakes, or trying to extract sensitive training data, or even steal the model IP itself.
Stealing the model itself.
Wow. Yeah, it's a new form of intellectual property theft. And things like manipulating algorithmic ecosystems, trying to game recommendation engines or search rankings for unfair advantage. The AI-augmented CFO needs to understand these new threat vectors and ensure the organization has the right technical and governance defenses in place.
Okay, moving on. Shift 4. From data gatekeeper to insights enabler.
Right. Historically, finance teams often acted as the gatekeepers of financial data, controlling access, distributing standardized reports.
Holding the keys to the kingdom.
Kind of. In the AI-augmented era, the shift is towards championing the democratization of data-driven insights across the entire organization. Now, obviously, within proper governance and security boundaries, it's about fostering a genuinely data-literate culture everywhere.
So getting the right data and, more importantly, the actionable insights derived from it into the hands of the business leaders and employees who actually need it, when they need it, so they can make better decisions.
Exactly that. Empowering leaders across sales, marketing, operations, HR, everyone, with timely, relevant financial and operational intelligence. This fuels better, faster, more informed decision-making at all levels, moving away from gut feel or relying on stale information.
And the finance team's role changes how?
It transforms. They become highly valued business partners, proactively providing actionable insights, strategic advice, analytical support, not just reacting to data requests or churning out standard reports. They help the business understand the so what behind the numbers.
And this obviously relies heavily on having high-quality data and that strong governance we just talked about, connecting back to Chapter 2.
Absolutely. You can't enable insights with bad data. Garbage in, garbage out is amplified with AI. So the CFO's traditional focus on data integrity becomes even more critical when that data is feeding strategic AI models that influence major decisions.
Chapter 14 also brings up a really interesting point about the communication challenge, the gap between the business folks and the technical teams in this AI world.
Yeah, that's a huge practical barrier in many organizations. There's often this significant language barrier, right? Data scientists and AI engineers talking jargon and business leaders not quite getting it, and vice versa.
So the book talks about AI translators.
Right. These are people with hybrid skill sets. They understand the business context and enough about the AI and data science to bridge that gap. They can explain technical concepts in clear business terms and articulate business needs effectively to the technical teams. The CFO can be instrumental here, either by developing this capability within their own finance team or championing the need for these translator roles across the company. It's crucial for ensuring those valuable AI insights actually get understood, trusted, and translated into concrete action.
Makes sense. Okay. Shift 5, from technology consumer to digital transformation champion.
So the traditional CFO's involvement with tech might have been mainly focused on, evaluating and signing off on finance-specific software, ERP systems, accounting platforms, budgeting tools.
Buying the finance tools.
Pretty much. The AI-augmented CFO, they need to be much more technologically savvy. They need a solid understanding of the potential of emerging tech beyond just finance AI, machine learning, maybe blockchain, where relevant advanced analytics, cloud computing. And they get deeply involved in strategic technology investment decisions across the entire enterprise, especially decisions around data infrastructure, core operational platforms, performance management systems, things that underpin the whole business.
And they become a key champion for the overall digital and AI transformation agenda for the whole company, not just finance.
Yes, exactly, because they recognize, and this connects back to Chapter 3, that the company's financial health, its operational excellence, and its ability to actually leverage AI are all intrinsically linked to its overall digital maturity. They understand you can't build sophisticated AI capabilities on top of creaky, siloed legacy systems that don't talk to each other.
Those legacy systems are a huge drag.
Massive roadblocks. So the AI-augmented CFO champions things like accelerating cloud adoption, pushing for API-first thinking, making systems interoperable, investing in modern data architecture, basically laying the right digital foundation.
And championing platform thinking for scaling AI. What's that about?
That's a really important concept from the book for making AI stick and scale. Instead of building every AI solution as a one-off, bespoke project, which is slow and expensive platform thinking, means building reusable AI components, designing for scalability right from the start, enabling self-service access to data and AI capabilities through APIs, and leveraging cloud-native infrastructure.
So it's more efficient and faster to deploy new AI use cases.
Much more. And the CFO, with their focus on efficiency, ROI, and strategic investment, is perfectly positioned to champion this more scalable platform-based approach to AI across the organization.
Chapter 11 also details how AI is enabling completely new business models, like AI as a service or digital twins. The CFO needs to understand these too.
Definitely. These represent potential investment opportunities for the company, new ways to create value, or even new revenue streams. AI as a service, AIaaS, offered by the big cloud players like AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, essentially democratizes access to really sophisticated AI capabilities like NLP, computer vision, predictive analytics tools, potentially lowering the barrier to entry, reducing upfront costs, and offering scalability. Companies can essentially rent these AI capabilities.
Okay. And digital twins.
We touched on them for operations. They offer huge value propositions around real-time optimization, simulation, prediction for complex physical assets or systems. Think beyond manufacturing, managing smart city infrastructure efficiently, modeling the performance and layout of a retail store network, even in healthcare for simulating surgeries. Understanding the value proposition and the underlying business and revenue models of these AI-enabled approaches is key for the CFO, whether considering investing in them, partnering with companies offering them, or figuring out how they enable the organization's own strategy.
Right. Okay. Shift number 6 is about people. From talent manager to architect of the future finance workforce.
Yeah, this is critical. It's about recognizing that the skills needed within the finance function itself are changing dramatically because of AI. The AI-augmented CFO has to lead the charge in upskilling and reskilling their existing team while also attracting new talent with different kinds of capabilities.
What kind of new skills are we talking about for, say, a financial analyst or an accountant of the future?
Well, beyond the core accounting and finance knowledge, which remains essential, the future finance team needs stronger capabilities in areas like data science fundamentals, advanced analytics, maybe some statistical modeling basics, certainly AI literacy, just understanding conceptually how AI works, its potential, its limitations, and crucially, they need even stronger strategic business partnering skills.
Why the partnering skills?
Because they need to be comfortable working with complex, often messy, unstructured data. They need to be adept at using AI-powered tools. They need to interpret the analytical outputs critically. And then this is key. They need to translate those insights into actionable strategic recommendations that the rest of the business can actually understand and act upon. It's that translation and communication piece again.
So it's less about hiring an army of data scientists into the finance department and more about evolving the skills of the existing finance professionals and perhaps integrating some specialized data expertise.
Exactly. It's likely a mix. It's definitely about fostering a culture of continuous learning within finance, providing the right training and development opportunities, and it's about attracting talent that thrives in this more data-intensive, AI-driven environment. The book makes the point that finance pros will spend less time on manual data gathering and manipulation. AI will handle more of that and much more time on interpretation, analysis, strategic thinking, and communication. Higher value work.
This sounds like it fits perfectly into the broader human capital strategy discussions in chapters 3 and 9 of the book.
It's absolutely part of that bigger organizational picture. Chapter 9, for instance, details how AI is transforming the HR and human capital management (HCM) function itself. Automating routine administrative tasks frees up HR pros for more strategic workforce planning, talent development, shaping culture.
And the book mentions AI helping identify the changing skill sets needed across the whole company.
Yeah, things like the rise of new roles at that human-machine interface, roles that require more critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, skills that AI doesn't easily replicate.
And can AI applications within HR actually help the CFO build their future finance team?
For sure. Chapter 9 talks about things like AI-powered personalized employee experiences, using data to try and ensure fairer, less biased talent decisions in hiring or promotions, and empowering all employees with AI tools and insights to boost productivity. It even touches on using AI to support employee well-being, maybe identifying burnout risks or helping optimize workloads. These are broader trends impacting everyone, including finance.
What about specific talent development tools?
Chapter 9 mentions AI-powered smart career pathing and leadership development, using data to spot high-potential employees earlier, recommending personalized training or development programs, supporting succession planning by identifying potential internal candidates, even facilitating mentorship matching. The AI-augmented CFO can absolutely champion or leverage these kinds of AI tools, not just for the wider organization, but specifically for building the capabilities within their own future-ready finance team.
Okay, makes sense. And the final shift, number 7, from board reporter to strategic board advisor.
Right. This elevates the CFO's relationship with the board of directors significantly. It goes way beyond the traditional, though still essential, responsibilities of presenting the historical financial results and ensuring the company is compliant with regulations.
The AI-augmented CFO becomes more of a strategic advisor to the board. How?
By providing the board with much richer, more forward-looking insights. Insights into the company's strategic performance against its goals, insights into potential future risk exposures, the big ones, clear analysis of the financial implications of different strategic options or major investment decisions, and tangible tracking of progress on key value creation initiatives.
Using AI to help the board look ahead.
Exactly. Using AI-driven scenario analysis, predictive models, the tools we talked about earlier, to help the board really understand potential uncertainties. Simulating the impact of major variables. What if interest rates jump 2%? What if our main competitor launches product X? This facilitates much more informed, robust dialogue and oversight from the board on the really big strategic decisions and long-term planning.
Which connects right back to that C-suite readiness point in Chapter 2, the growing need for board-level oversight of AI strategy and risk, and the board members themselves needing greater AI literacy.
Right. The CFO plays an absolutely crucial role in enabling that informed oversight. They need to translate complex AI concepts and their financial implications into language the board can grasp. They ensure the board gets the information needed to fulfill its governance duties around AI strategy and risk. It's really about shifting the board conversation from just reviewing the past to intelligently shaping the future together.
Wow. Okay, that's a truly comprehensive transformation across those 7 shifts. It really does repaint the picture of the CFO role, moving from primarily backward-looking, focused on control and reporting,
to being forward-looking, deeply strategic, heavily involved in value creation, navigating complex risks, championing technology, all of it powered and augmented by AI.
It's not a slow drift, is it? The book suggests this is happening fast.
Yeah, it's presented as a rapid, almost necessary transformation that's already well underway in the leading organizations. It's not science fiction. It's becoming the new standard for high performance.
Understanding these shifts just feels absolutely crucial for anyone in finance or really any leadership role who wants to not just, keep pace, but actually lead in the years ahead.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, we spent a good chunk of time detailing these 7 shifts, connecting them to AI capabilities and how they reshape the CFO's world, drawing insights from across the book, Intelligent Advantage. But honestly, we've only really scratched the surface, haven't we?
Oh, definitely. The book itself goes into so much more depth. Practical frameworks, detailed examples, case studies. It's incredibly rich.
Yeah, this deep dive focused mainly on Chapter 6, but the full book, Intelligent Advantage by Ryan Beckett, it covers the whole spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Building a data strategy, understanding that algorithmic advantage we touched on, transforming talent and culture across the board, setting up that robust governance.
It really provides a comprehensive guide, a playbook almost, for building an intelligent organization from the ground up.
So if you, our listener, want to dive even deeper, really understand the full context, see how all these different pieces fit together, and get genuinely practical guidance on leading this kind of transformation,
then we highly, highly encourage you to get the book. You can find Intelligent Advantage by Ryan Beckett very easily on Amazon. Just search for the title Intelligent Advantage.
Seriously, getting the book will let you explore all these topics properly, dig into the practical frameworks the book offers, and see how all these interconnected concepts really come together to help you and your organization build that intelligent advantage. It's well worth a read.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered those 7 big shifts transforming the CFO role. Let's maybe shift gears a bit now and talk more about the how. How does the AI-augmented CFO and their finance team actually interact with AI day to day? How does it enhance their decision-making in practice? The book calls this AI-augmented decision-making.
Yeah, and this is a really crucial distinction that Chapter 14 makes very clear. It's not about AI making decisions for the CFO or replacing human judgment entirely. That's not the goal, or even desirable in most complex business situations.
It's about AI informing, enhancing, augmenting human decisions.
Precisely. The key is fostering critical engagement with the AI's outputs and ensuring humans remain squarely in the loop for making the call, or at least on the loop for oversight and final judgment, depending on the application.
The core idea here seems to be human-AI teaming, like defining clear complementary roles where both the AI and the human finance pro play to their unique strengths.
Exactly. AI has incredible strengths, right? It can process vast, incredibly complex data sets at speeds humans can't even comprehend. It can identify subtle, non-obvious patterns hidden deep within that data. It can rapidly generate and simulate millions of potential scenarios based on different inputs and assumptions. It can provide initial predictions, recommendations, detect anomalies in real time across massive data streams. It handles the heavy lifting of computation and pattern recognition.
Okay, so AI does the heavy lifting. What about the human side? The CFO, the finance manager, the analyst. What are their unique, irreplaceable strengths in this team up?
The human strengths are critical and, frankly, irreplaceable by today's AI. Humans frame the initial strategic questions that the AI should even be trying to answer. That's huge. They bring crucial contextual understanding, the nuances of the company culture, specific market dynamics, the likely impact on different stakeholders, the ethical considerations involved. All that context that AI fundamentally lacks.
Right. AI doesn't understand the why in the same way.
Exactly. Humans interpret the AI outputs. They critically evaluate them, asking, does this actually make sense in our real-world situation? They ask the crucial, why did the AI predict this, and what happens if we tweak this variable questions. They manage ambiguity, exercise nuanced judgment based on factors that might not even be in the data, and ultimately humans bear the final responsibility and accountability for the decisions made. It's a true partnership. AI provides the powerful insights and analytical horsepower. Humans provide the wisdom, context, and judgment.
But AI outputs aren't always perfect or easily understood. So the book outlines some essential validation steps in this human-AI workflow. Steps needed to build trust and ensure the AI's contribution is actually reliable.
Yes, you absolutely cannot just blindly accept what the AI spits out. The first step is fundamental, data validation. You've got to ensure the data feeding the AI model is accurate, complete, timely, relevant for the specific question you're asking. And critically, you need to check for potential biases lurking in that data that could skew the results unfairly or inaccurately.
Okay, check the data.
Then comes model validation. Now, you don't necessarily need to be the data scientist who built the model, but the CFO or the finance professional using its output needs to have a decent understanding of its purpose. What assumptions is it built on? What are its known limitations? Under what specific circumstances might this particular model be less reliable or even fail? Is this AI model actually the right tool for this specific decision, or is there a better approach?
So understanding the tool's limits makes sense.
Absolutely critical. And then output validation is maybe the most hands-on step for the decision maker. This is where you apply that critical scrutiny to the AI's recommendations or predictions. Does it pass the basic smell test or sense check? Is it consistent with other reliable data sources or what trusted human experts are saying? Cross-referencing is key. You might need to stress test the AI's recommendations, like what happens if we push these assumptions to the extreme? Do the recommendations still hold up?
And finally, after you make a decision partly based on AI insights, there's impact validation.
Right. Tracking the actual real-world outcomes against what the AI predicted or recommended. Did it perform as expected? This helps you learn and identify areas where you might need to improve the data, refine the model, or even adjust how humans are interpreting the outputs. It closes the loop.
This whole validation process seems to lead directly into the importance of feedback loops, which Chapter 14 also discusses quite a bit. These aren't just bureaucratic checks, are they? They're essential for learning and improvement.
Totally essential for continuous improvement of both the AI system and the effectiveness of the human AI team working together.
What kinds of feedback loops are we talking about?
Well, first, there's AI to human feedback. The AI system itself needs to communicate its insights clearly. Ideally, it should provide some indication of its confidence level in a prediction or recommendation. And where possible with explainable AI or XAI techniques, it should provide some rationale or explanation about why it reached a particular conclusion. This helps the human user interpret the output build trust, and understand its potential weaknesses.
Okay, AI explaining itself to the human. What about the other way?
That's human to AI feedback. This is absolutely vital. It's the mechanism for users, the finance team, for example, to correct errors they spot in the AI's output, to provide relevant context that the AI might not have access to rate the usefulness or accuracy of the insights it provides, or to flag instances of potential bias or unexpected, maybe weird behavior. This feedback is gold because it's used to retrain and improve the AI models over time, making them more accurate and reliable.
Got it. And there's one more.
Yes, process feedback. This is about stepping back and periodically reviewing the entire human AI decision-making workflow itself. Was it efficient? Did it actually lead to demonstrably better decisions? Were there bottlenecks or points of friction in the process? This helps optimize how humans and AI actually work together day to day.
Now, for the non-technical executive, like many CFOs, Chapter 14 really emphasizes a critical competency, knowing how to ask the right questions. You don't need to know exactly how the AI black box works internally, but you absolutely need to know how to interrogate it effectively and how to question the people who built and manage it.
This is so key because the CFO or business leader is the domain expert, right? They understand the business context. They need to ensure the AI is actually solving the right problem in the right way, effectively and responsibly. The book gives some great examples of the kinds of questions leaders should be asking.
Like what?
Questions around purpose and value. What specific business problem is this AI actually intended to solve? How are we going to measure its success in tangible business terms, not just technical accuracy metrics? What's the expected ROI or the strategic value we anticipate? How does this specific AI initiative clearly align with our overall company strategy?
Okay, purpose and value. What else?
Questions about the data, naturally. Is the data feeding this model high quality, accurate, complete? Is it truly relevant for this problem? Where did it come from? What's its provenance? Is it being sourced and used ethically and in compliance with privacy regulations? What potential biases might be lurking in this data, and how could they unfairly affect the outcomes? How are we governing and securing this data?
Data questions are crucial. Then the model itself.
Yeah, right. Questions about the AI model and its limitations. At a high level, how does this type of AI model generally work? What are the core assumptions baked into it? What are its known limitations or weaknesses? When might it be less reliable or potentially give garbage outputs? Can we get explanations for its predictions, especially the critical ones? How is its performance being continuously monitored for drift or degradation?
And practically about implementation and operations.
Yeah. What technical infrastructure is needed to actually deploy and run this? How will it integrate smoothly with our existing systems and workflows? How will it impact our employees' jobs and their daily tasks? What training or support is needed? What are the ongoing costs beyond the initial purchase or development? And critically, what's our contingency plan if the AI system goes down or starts producing really anomalous or harmful results?
And finally, the big ones around ethics and risk.
Absolutely non-negotiable. What are the potential ethical risks here? Things like unintended bias leading to discrimination, lack of transparency causing distrust, potential job displacement implications. Are we fully compliant with all relevant regulations like GDPR or industry-specific rules? What level of human oversight is built in, and how is it triggered, especially for high-stakes decisions? How will we address potential concerns from employees, customers, or regulators about how we're using this AI? Asking these kinds of intelligent, probing questions, even without having a PhD in machine learning, is really a hallmark of an effective AI-augmented leader.
Chapter 14 also reinforces the value for executives in understanding just the basic AI and machine learning concepts, at least conceptually.
Yeah, again, it's not about becoming a data scientist overnight. It's about having enough fluency to ask those informed questions and participate meaningfully in discussions. Knowing conceptually the difference between, say, supervised learning, training on labeled data like identifying pictures of cats versus dogs or flagging fraudulent transactions based on past examples, versus unsupervised learning, finding hidden patterns or structures in unlabeled data, like automatically grouping customers into different segments based on their behavior. Or reinforcement learning, where the AI learns by trial and error, like mastering a game or optimizing a robotic process.
And understanding the different types of AI.
Right. Having a basic grasp of what natural language processing, NLP, is enabling computers to understand and process human language, used for things like summarizing long documents, analyzing contract clauses, or powering chatbots. Or what computer vision is enabling computers to see and interpret images or videos, used for analyzing satellite imagery, medical scans, or monitoring quality on a production line. And of course, having a sense of what generative AI is all about, creating new content like text, images, code, or even synthetic data.
And understanding common model trade-offs is important too when evaluating AI solutions, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, because there's rarely a perfect model. There are always trade-offs. Understanding things like the accuracy versus interpretability trade-off is huge. A really complex black box model might be incredibly accurate, but if you can't understand why it made a certain prediction, it might be hard to trust, debug, or explain to auditors or the board. A simpler, more transparent model might be slightly less accurate, but fully interpretable.
Okay, that makes sense. What other trade-offs?
The precision versus recall trade-off is common, especially in risk detection. Do you want to catch almost every potential instance of fraud, high recall, even if it means you get a lot of false alarms, lower precision? Or do you only want to flag cases you're very confident about, high precision, knowing you might miss some actual fraud, lower recall? The right balance depends entirely on the business context and risk tolerance.
So you need to know which one matters more for this specific task.
Exactly. Other trade-offs include bias versus variance, balancing a model that's too simple and underfits the data versus one that's too complex and overfits the training data, failing to generalize. Or the practical speed versus cost trade-off is getting a prediction in real time worth the potentially much higher computational cost. Having this basic fluency empowers the CFO and their team to engage much more meaningfully with technical experts and critically evaluate AI proposals, choices, and results.
This whole discussion about implementing AI, integrating it, getting the right skills, it really brings us back to the broader picture of overall AI readiness. Successfully embedding AI across an organization, it's clearly not just about buying some new tech. It's a really complex organizational journey, right, as chapters 3 and 15 really emphasize.
Absolutely. It's a journey, not a destination. And chapter 15 in the book presents this really useful framework outlining 6 key dimensions of AI readiness. Achieving a good level of maturity across all these dimensions is pretty much essential for any organization serious about building intelligent capabilities. And the CFO has a significant role to play in each of these.
Okay, what are the 6 dimensions? The first is strategic alignment, right? Making sure AI initiatives are tightly linked to the overall business vision and strategy. Identifying the right high-impact use cases, getting senior leadership sponsorship, integrating AI planning into the corporate strategy process.
Exactly. We talked about the CFO as a predictive strategist and value architect. This dimension is right in that wheelhouse, ensuring AI efforts are focused on what really matters for the business.
Second dimension, data. We've hit this a few times. Ensuring data quality, setting up robust data governance, covering security, privacy, ethics, access controls, building the necessary data architecture, enabling easy access to the right data for AI models.
Yep. We covered this under the CFO as Insights Enabler and Risk Navigator. Data is the absolute fuel for AI. The CFO, traditionally the guardian of financial data integrity, has a natural role in championing broader data quality and governance.
Third, technology. Having the necessary infrastructure, cloud platforms, sufficient computing power, ensuring systems can actually integrate with each other. Building or accessing scalable AI platforms, maybe leveraging that platform thinking we discussed.
Right. Links back to the CFO as a digital transformation champion. Understanding and making the case for investing in the right foundational technology is vital. You can't build a skyscraper on shaky foundations.
Fourth dimension, talent and culture. This seems huge. Acquiring specialized AI talent where needed, but also building broader AI fluency across the organization, especially among leadership. Developing those crucial AI translators. Fostering a genuinely data-driven culture where decisions are based on evidence. Building organizational agility to adapt quickly. And effectively managing the human side of change.
Absolutely critical. Ties directly into the CFO as architect of the future workforce and also as Insights Enabler. You can have the best tech and data, but without the right people, skills, and mindset to leverage it, you won't get the value.
Fifth dimension, governance. Establishing those comprehensive AI governance frameworks we talked about. Embedding ethical principles. Building robust AI risk management into the existing enterprise risk structures. Ensuring regulatory compliance.
Yep, we detailed the CFO's crucial role here as a risk navigator. Strong governance isn't bureaucracy, it's the essential guardrails that allow you to unlock AI's potential safely, responsibly, and sustainably.
And the sixth dimension the book lists is measurement.
That's right, defining those intelligent KPIs specifically for AI initiatives. Establishing clear frameworks for tracking the actual ROI and the broader value created. Maintaining that portfolio view of AI investments. And being really clear on how value is being quantified and communicated. This dimension is arguably the most direct, traditional responsibility for the CFO, core to their role as a value architect. If you can't measure the impact, you can't manage it effectively or justify ongoing investment.
And the book also mentions different maturity levels for these dimensions, like level 1 being just exploratory up to level 5 being fully embedded.
Yeah, it provides a kind of maturity model. It's a practical way for CFOs and other leaders to honestly assess where their function, or maybe the entire organization, currently stands on this AI readiness journey across all 6 dimensions. It helps pinpoint the biggest gaps and prioritize where efforts need to be focused to move forward.
So it highlights that becoming an intelligent organization isn't like flipping a switch. It's an ongoing journey of continuous improvement across all these interconnected areas.
Exactly. It requires sustained focus and effort across the board.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive, let's just briefly look ahead. The book touches on some emerging technological trends, things driven by AI, hinting at what might be next on the horizon that CFOs should probably have on their radar.
Yeah, chapters 14 and 11 give a glimpse. Things like the rapidly increasing power and capability of foundation models, these huge general-purpose AI models trained on vast data sets. They have implications for everything from supercharged content generation to complex analysis and problem solving.
And multimodal AI.
Right. AI that can process and integrate information from multiple senses simultaneously: text, images, audio, video. This moves AI capabilities closer to human perception and could enable much more sophisticated decision support systems that understand context more deeply.
Also, AIoT, the combination of AI and the Internet of Things.
Yes, AIoT. Bringing intelligence directly to the edge, enabling smart sensors to analyze data locally and trigger automated decisions or actions in the physical world. Huge operational implications across industries like manufacturing, logistics, energy, smart cities.
And maybe further out, the book mentions the potential convergence of AI and quantum computing.
Yeah, that's definitely more on the longer-term horizon, but the potential is staggering. Quantum computing could, in theory, exponentially accelerate the training of certain types of complex AI models and solve optimization problems that are completely intractable today. Think about the implications for highly complex financial modeling, portfolio optimization, or strategic planning simulations.
Wow. These trends just really underscore how incredibly dynamic this whole field is, don't they?
Yeah.
And it highlights the absolute need for continuous learning, for adaptability, for really forward-looking leadership from the CFO and the entire C-suite. What feels like cutting-edge stuff today could very well be foundational tomorrow.
Absolutely. Staying curious, being willing to experiment and learn, and being prepared to constantly evolve your thinking and your organization's capabilities.
Yeah.
That's going to be key.
So let's bring it all back to the core message of this deep dive, drawing from Chapter 6 of Intelligent Advantage. The CFO role is undergoing this fundamental, irreversible shift. It's moving decisively away from primarily reporting the past
Towards actively shaping the future.
Yeah.
Driving value creation, strategically navigating risk, championing digital transformation, all of it powered and augmented by artificial intelligence.
It's definitely a challenging time, but also it sounds like an incredibly exciting time to be in finance and leadership, doesn't it? The potential to drive real strategic impact seems immense.
It really does. The scope of the role is just expanding dramatically.
Okay, so here's maybe the final provocative thought for you, our listener, to really chew on as you reflect on this transformation. The question really isn't if AI will profoundly transform finance and the CFO role anymore. That ship has sailed. The real question is, how quickly will you and your organization truly embrace this change to seize the intelligent advantage? Because the book's hook really says it all. The rules are being rewritten right now. Are you holding the pen?
That is a powerful call to action, a really challenging thought for every finance leader out there.
Well, thank you for tuning into this deep dive into the CFO's future with AI. We really hope this detailed exploration based on Intelligent Advantage has given you a clear picture of the evolution that's required, the new capabilities needed, and the significant strategic opportunities that are opening up.
And remember, to get the full, comprehensive context, to explore all the other crucial aspects of building an intelligent advantage across your entire organization, data, talent, governance, the works, and to really immerse yourself in the practical frameworks and detailed insights you need to lead effectively with AI.
We strongly, strongly encourage you, again, to purchase the book, Intelligent Advantage by Ryan Beckett. It's the source for all the insights we've shared today, and it genuinely provides a comprehensive roadmap for this journey.
And you can find it very easily on Amazon. Just search for the title, Intelligent Advantage. It's all in there.
Get the book, keep learning, keep adapting, and prepare to lead with AI. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Leading with AI podcast.